So you've probably been playing with AI chatbots, right? You type in a prompt, it gives you an answer. But what if I told you that's just the beginning? We're on the verge of a huge leap forward to an AI that doesn't just wait for you to tell it what to do. An AI that can set its own goals and then figure out how to achieve them. This is what we call Agentic AI, and it's a total game changer.
All right, here's the plan for this explainer. First, we'll talk about why this is such a big deal, a true leap forward. Then, we're going to peek under the hood and see how an agent actually thinks. After that, we'll look at some real-world examples you'll definitely recognize. And finally, we'll wrap up by looking at the road ahead, both the amazing opportunities and the tough challenges. Okay, let's kick things off with the first big idea. We're talking about a fundamental change in how we should even think about AI. It's evolving from a simple tool that we use into an active teammate that works alongside us. And this really gets to the heart of it. Think about the AI we're used to. It's fantastic at following instructions. You give it a command, it executes. Simple. But Agentic AI, that's a whole different ballgame. It doesn't wait for you to tell it how to do something. You just give it a goal and it figures out the steps, makes its own decisions, and gets it done.
So let's put a pin in that definition. Agentic AI is all about autonomy. These are AI systems that are designed to operate independently. They see the world around them, they think about what to do next, and then they take action to reach a goal. And sometimes they even come up with the goal themselves. It's this ability to take initiative that makes them so different from the passive tools we've had until now.
So, what makes an AI agent tick? Well, it really comes down to three core ideas. First, you've got autonomy, which is just that freedom to make its own calls. Second, it has to be a great problem solver, able to figure out tricky situations. But the third one, adaptability, that's the secret sauce. It's the ability to learn from what happens, to get smarter with every task, without a person needing to step in and tweak the code.
Okay, so we know what it is, but how does it work? How does an AI actually think on its own? Let's go inside the mind of an agent and look at the basic loop that powers everything it does.
It really boils down to this three-step dance that happens over and over again: perceive, reason, and act. Think of it as a constant feedback loop. This is the engine driving every single thing an agent does. So let's take a closer look at each piece.
So, step one is perception. This is basically the agent's senses. Its eyes, its ears, whatever. It could be a camera on a car, a microphone listening for your voice, or just a stream of data from the internet. Its whole job is to just gather information and build a picture of what's happening right now. You can't make a good decision without knowing what's going on, right?
Okay, once it's gathered all that information, we move to step two, reasoning. This is the brain of the operation. It takes everything it just perceived and starts to, well, think about it. It chews on the data, weighs different options, and comes up with a plan. This is the part that decides, okay, based on everything I know, this is the best thing to do next.
And that brings us to the final step, action. This is the agent's hands and feet. The brain has made a plan, and now it's time to actually do it. This could mean physically moving a robot's arm, hitting the brakes in a car, or something digital, like sending an email or booking a flight. It's how the AI actually influences the world around it.
So, what's making this whole loop so much more powerful all of a sudden? You guessed it, large language models, or LLMs. Think of things like GPT-4. They're like a steroid shot for every part of this process. They're amazing at understanding language and raw data, which helps with perception. They can generate really complex creative plans, which is a huge boost for reasoning, and they can even write the code to execute tasks, which helps with action. They're a massive upgrade for the whole system.
All right, enough with the theory. This all sounds a bit abstract, right? So where does this stuff actually showing up in the real world? Let's look at a couple of examples that will probably feel pretty familiar.
Probably the easiest example to picture is a self-driving car. I mean, it's the poster child for this kind of AI, right? You've got a machine making its own decisions in real time in one of the most chaotic environments we've got, public road.
And you can see that same loop we talked about. The car's perception is its cameras and sensors scanning the road. Its reasoning is the computer brain planning the safest route second by second. And its action is literally turning the wheel, hitting the gas, or slamming on the brakes. Perceive, reason, act, over and over. in a situation where the stakes are incredibly high.
But it's not just about cars. Let's talk about something a little closer to home. Those personal assistants, you know, the ones on your phone or your smart speaker, they are also becoming much more like agents.
And again, it's that same loop at play. Perception? That's the device understanding your voice command. Reasoning? That's the AI figuring out what you actually want it to do, your intent. And the action? Well, that's it playing the song, setting your alarm, or looking up a fact for you. See? The same fundamental process, just applied in a totally different way.
Okay, so that's a good look at what agentic AI is and how it's working today. But what does the future hold? This is where we need to talk about both the massive potential and some of the really serious hurdles we need to clear. Look, making these things work perfectly is really, really hard. And as they get more powerful and more autonomous, the stakes get higher. So we have to ask the tough question. What are the biggest roadblocks standing in our way?
Right now, the experts are focused on 3 huge challenges. The first is explainability. If an AI agent does something, can we understand why it did it? That's crucial for us to trust it. Second is safety. How do we put up guardrails to make absolutely sure these things don't cause harm? And third is bias. AI learns from our data. So how do we stop it from learning and even amplifying our worst human biases? Nailing these 3 is non-negotiable.
But even with those big challenges, the momentum is undeniable. The trend is clear. We're going to see AI agents become way more autonomous. They're going to be integrated into, well, pretty much everything. And because of that, they're going to be adopted across nearly every industry imaginable. The growth curve here is going to be steep.
Of course, this brings up the big question everyone always asks. What about our jobs? And yeah, some tasks will get automated, but the bigger picture here isn't about replacement. It's about collaboration. The idea is that this AI will augment us. It'll handle the boring, repetitive stuff, freeing us humans up to focus on strategy, creativity, and the big picture. It's about creating a new kind of partnership.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. For pretty much the entire history of computing, we've been the ones in the driver's seat, giving all the commands. But that's changing. AI can now act on its own. So the question we have to ask ourselves is no longer just, what can AI do? But how do we work with it? So, are we ready to be its teammate?